Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Victor. He's Jack. What's on your mind today?
Okay, I want to talk about censorship. And
Okay.
so there's this, do you know about the Tim Pool thing with the Eliza Bleu and all that?
I've seen like thumbnails on YouTube, but I haven't watched any of it.
Okay, so Eliza Bleu is like this girl, and she's like really into like stopping people from trafficking.
Okay.
And so she basically said, hey, that hip hop music video that I made where I dressed provocatively years ago, I was actually being trafficked at the time, so y'all shouldn't be able to post it anymore. So some people like the Quartering, they basically posted it. And so then she's friends with Elon Musk. So she says, hey, you need to censor this because this is trafficked material. And so Elon says, yeah, sure, and suspends the Quartering,
Okay.
censors him. And then basically Tim Pool and the Quartering are friends. But Tim won't really weigh in for so long that he just started leaking subscribers because people were like, hey, say something about this now. And he's like, yeah, no, it's just drama, and then he was just fence sitting for a long time. But what I really want to talk about here in regards to this is when everybody talks about this exact situation, they say the exact same thing. They say, well, I think all censorship is bad. So, and then they just go from there.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
So you're in favor of some censorship?
Are you in favor of some censorship?
In the context of America or me, Supreme Leader Victor? What are we talking about?
Both of them.
Well, in America, it's all about freedom of speech, and so you should be able to say what you want. If I was running things on my own, then I feel like I would censor things based on what I felt was for the good of the people. As far as if I want to increase morality, then I'm getting rid of stuff that deteriorates morals and that type of thing.
Okay. So let's talk without a supreme leader doing it. Let's talk inside of a system, whether it's this system or the next system. But say like, do you favor censoring child pornography? The government censoring it by making it illegal, right?
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
And there's no such thing as child pornography because children can't consent. So it's child rape videos or pictures.
Yeah.
And everybody is on with this. Like, if you're not on with it, go find a different channel because you disgust me,
Right.
And so everybody says, hey, you should prosecute people who do this. You should rescue the children. You should prosecute people who view this, say like all the people in the Pentagon and stuff. We want them eventually arrested. And so we're all pro censorship.
Okay, that's fair.
The question is, what are we censoring? And all these people, they just say these platitudes like, oh, censorship is bad. We should have absolute free speech. You don't believe that. You don't believe that. You just don't critically think about the things that are coming out of your mouth.
Okay, gotcha.
And I just watched so many episodes about this where everybody's just saying the same platitude. And I think not one of you has the process of critical thought, just think through this. Like, what about during wartime?
Okay.
I send a letter to my mom saying, hey, our boat's moving from here to here. She's going to go on the news channel and say that. Should she be allowed to say that?
No, it compromises.
Right. And that censorship that disallows her from saying that should be restricted in time and manner, Right. So in this, it would just be during the duration of the war or for the duration where that speech could threaten the lives of, say, 1,000 sailors, But we would be against, say, the government trying to censor people who just are anti-war. We don't want them censoring anti-war people, but we don't want people getting our ship sunk because they're correct.
Right. The thought that pops into my head about the war stuff is it ends up being a slippery slope. If you allow them to censor the one thing, then they're going to justify until you've got people having to hide in Russia because they told the truth.
Right. And I don't want to give this system, this terrible system that we have now, any power to censor. But I don't mind if they do it with the child rape stuff because it's so extreme. And I don't want them doing it. But in this situation, we're talking about private censorship.
Okay.
With Elon Musk because it's a private company now, we'll say. And he could do what he wants.
Yeah, totally.
But just don't say that you're absolutely against censorship. Just don't say that, or you're just lying. Or you're a person of terrible moral character, and I don't really even want you watching my show. Okay. If you're the person who says, yeah, no, that child rape stuff about, like a libertarian would
advocate that.
That's the inevitable. And I listened to them, and they were like, yeah, we could fight this stuff by using obnoxious freedom. We would have obnoxious freedom, and we would culturally stop these people from doing this by making it so demeaning to them to do it. They don't care.
Right.
They don't care. They've got their kids at a drag show right now, putting money in a man dressed as a woman's garter belt. And I don't even care if it's a man dressed as a woman or just a woman dressed lewdly. And you bring your kid and it should be.
Yeah.
You can't take your kid into a strip club.
Right.
They check your ID at the door. You do get in, they get fined heavily, you know? And so it's like, then you get the reference, right? So all censorship is bad, they say. And they're like, because you know who was bad? The Nazis. The Nazis burned books. All censorship is bad. Nazis burn books. Therefore, Nazis are bad. My God. My God. Just, it's the intellectual dishonesty of the whole thing, you know? Because what books were they burning? The Nazis.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, what were they censoring? That's the question. And so you can't just say Nazis were bad because they burned books if you don't know what books they were burning. Because was it child rape pictures? Then we all say, yay, less of that trash out there, you know? And hopefully they arrested the people who did it. Are they burning Bibles? Most people would be against that because they would say, hey, we prefer religious freedom, you know?
Yeah.
Not that even burning a Bible means you're against religious freedom. If they take your Bible from you and burn it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Was the Germany thing state-sponsored book burning?
No, it wasn't state-sponsored.
Oh, okay.
And so a lot of, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, even that, then that's an invalid argument. It's just people making their
Okay,
choices.
but there is some validity to the argument because it's kind of like, say, when Antifa was trying to burn down, you know, that federal building in Seattle or Portland, I believe. And they did it for like 100 days or something. And they took over a police station and this and that. Was that state sanctioned?
No.
But the state acquiesced to it. They did not step in and stop them. When they're throwing Molotov cocktails, you just roll up with your, you know, all your military vehicles that you've got for your police force and you just mass arrest these people.
Yeah.
But they were kind of like, we'll look the other way. And so then there is some culpability with the state.
Gotcha. Okay.
If policemen get injured, federal officers get injured, the buildings get destroyed. And in the same way here, when the government's like, oh yeah, they're burning pornography and, you know, communist literature and Freudian trash and just all this in the Nazi situation. And the government's like, meh.
But was that illegal to do in Germany?
Well, in this particular instance, it would be illegal because they had this place and it was like the University of Sexology or something. It was just a wild place. And it had been created during Weimar Germany. And it was like where the first trans surgery was done, you know, the first mutilation of a kid. And it was, well, I don't know if it was a kid, honestly, of a human being, we'll say, you know, I don't know if it was voluntary or involuntary, but they were doing all types of stuff. There were children doing different experiments with each other under the supervision of it was really a terrible place, you know?
Okay.
So then when all these youths get reinvigorated with traditional values and they want to go rush in there and grab all the pornography and the communist literature and stuff and take it out in the middle of the street. And the government's like, you know what I mean? All that stuff's highly illegal at this point because now the laws reflect the traditional values that they want. Whereas prior in Weimar Germany, it was just a
free for all.
Yeah, it was all types of hedonism, basically.
Gotcha.
You know? And so I'm just saying, don't say that censorship's bad in and of itself. Don't say that people who are burning books are bad unless you know what type of books they were burning. And that's what I got.
Okay, I would just like to add that there's a different option that you're, as far as saying censorship is good or bad. Like when you asked me the question, I consider myself a decently critically thinking person, but I didn't think of the scenario that you brought up about the kid stuff that would make me say, okay, censorship, even in America, is a needed thing. So it couldn't just be that people may have not thought it through and thought of that one instance. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Or the wars, though.
Yeah, that's true. But again, as I was going through the stuff that would be censored, I wasn't thinking of those types of things. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm not a critical thinking person. Right.
Okay. So it could be bringing this, but the problem is a lot of the people that you view aren't bringing this up. And so then therefore there's this, but there's like even smaller things like, what is the, who censors the television? What are they called? The FCC?
FCC, yeah.
Okay. So it used to be when I was a kid, during primetime hours, there was no nudity, no cussing.
Right.
And it made for a nice time to have family friendly, you know, where you can sit down with your family and you can trust the shows you watch. And then the kids go to bed and then, you know, Letterman, Leno, whoever, whatever era you're from, and you can watch them and they get sassy and it's, you know, and it's adult time. even that's good censoring.
Right.
Or even if now that we have so many channels, if you just had a range of channels and every channel between 214 and 389 are just voluntarily agree to follow these rules, they're safe for your family at this time.
Right.
Whereas the other ones that may or may not be, and that would be like a voluntary thing. But I'm saying I'm not even against the FCC doing something like that.
Gotcha.
Because if I got my kid watching something on television and I say fall asleep, for a little nap, I don't know what the next thing that's going to come on is. And I literally can't trust it. Like Blue's Clues, I don't know if you know this, is doing trans now.
Oh, good.
So I told my wife, hey, we're out on Blue's Clues. Well, apparently we were already out and I didn't know that because I was a little behind. Okay. But what I'm saying is it's just hard to know.
Right.
In a good system where they were actually, not this system at all, but in a good system where they were censoring, like you were saying, and they were trying to take away things that are degenerate and bad for the population. Like even like if we go on another one, like the idea that your child could pick up a telephone, a mobile phone, and he could just immediately access pornography with no age check, no credit card, anything.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's insane. Can we get that censored?
It seems reasonable.
Because imagine in a good system what the censoring would look like. The government would say, hey, don't do that. The company would say, okay, cool. We're going to make you put your credit card in. You're never going to get charged, you know, but it's some major like hub, we'll say, for this type of stuff. You put your credit card in, you're never going to get charged. Immediately, your credit card company is working with you to try to help that not be a kid. So they send alerts out to every email and phone number you've got, making you verify that it's you just in case your kid stole your credit card. Okay. Your email, is working with you to, like, everybody's working with you.
Because they all share the same morals and want to protect kids.
Because nobody wants small children. I mean, like, what's the average age that people are getting exposed to? Is like 9 or something?
Crazy.
7. It's insane, you know? But the censorship itself could be good. And that's not even censorship. That's just a restriction, which is a form of censorship. Yeah, you're censoring it from a kid being able to view it. And if you're a decent human being, you don't want kids viewing it.
Right.
I mean, we could make an argument about a 17-year-old, but when we're talking about 7 and 9, it's pretty clear cut. It should be a hard no.
Well, I think the problem is there's a lot of decent people around. And so people just don't care about this stuff.
But even those type of people like 7 and 9, okay, could be. And if that's the case, we need a reevaluation of values.
Right.
And we need to see who's eligible for citizenship.
Which is a whole other video.
That's a whole nother video. Yeah, but there could be all manner of qualifications, and they could just be the simplest, easiest things imaginable. That's another video, though.
All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Ultimately, we're just trying to challenge you guys, not just about censorship, about everything. Just question the logic, be full of critical thought, no matter what the source is, how your parents taught you, teachers. Just because you read it in a book somewhere doesn't mean it's true. Do research, think it through, talk to people, bounce ideas off each other, and ultimately just try to always search for the truth and what's reasonable in everything you hear. Leave likes and comments if you enjoyed it. If you think we're off, please challenge us. We want to hear from you as much as we want you guys to be challenged by us. We'll see you next time.